big shift is happening. And it's happening now. And guys, we're in a moment in time where things will go more rapidly. It's what I've been talking about, that the shift, whether you like it or not, it's actually gonna happen. And it's so much easier when you are actually ready, prepared, instead of being forced when things really start pushing you in this world, this 3D world that, oh man, a woman these past days has been super intense, going all in on my purpose here, my mission, well, with you. I hope maybe you'll be nudged after this video. It doesn't matter, I'll do whatever it takes. But I've isolated myself for a few days because after going all in as well, feeling good about it as well, all triggers came back, and it's part of when you level up or about to, everything that you still hold within or holding on to from the past, whether that's past connections, old ways of thinking, old ways, habits of doing things that actually keep you stuck, and those need to be released. It's super confusing. It's vivid dreams of as well people from the past. One in particular that I had actually a very good connection with, but as well was someone that extremely triggered my old wounds. So there's been a lot of growth and good stuff that happened there, and it's more like letting go or staying connected. But there was a lot of forgiveness that needed to happen, and things that I needed to share to, for instance, that person that I wanted to share it with already for a long time, but never really had the moment, the space, the time, the words. It's actually also beautiful. And that's lovingly releasing, forgiving, again, without the need to get back together or connect again. I'm still not sure about that in this case, but what the purpose is. But the energetic release when dealing with someone and supposed to let that go, and forgiving is still important, or lovingly and compassionately detaching is so important to release all negative feelings and in love, and then you're free. It's been going on in the past days. It's been insane, and so much doubt kicked in, and old fears, and like, what's going on? And but it's as well a moment to really pay attention, because it's time to shift, and things needs to be released. It's important to be to become free and create a sacred container so you can fill yourself up with light. And therefore any toxic and dark connections or ties that you have, this is with people, those need to be shattered. Those need to be released. I talk about in many other videos, and it's part of this journey as well, to shatter a trauma bond and a shared fantasy and your inner critic, and called introject, that will, well, try to call you back to the old ways. It's like a trap of going back into the familiar, even though that's a draining situation for you to be in. You're not supposed to do that, but your brain will try, and then you need to be strong. This is why you need ongoing guidance and support, because on your own, especially when you're vulnerable enough to this type of abuse, you are often confused and alone, feeling alone. So moments of weakness, it is easy to decide to return, and you get sucked in back into a dynamic that you absolutely should not be in and should leave. And once left, stay away to really become free. But it takes time, and that's the process, and this is a process which many people don't know about, that when you physically leave someone, I mean, you already done an amazing job, but that's the moment you need to be strong. That's the moment there will be intense triggers as well. It's not like when you left physically, like dum-to-dum-dum-dum, and you're free. No, then the challenge is to stay free, because there's so much emotion that will come up. I call it a cocktail of emotions, and that could be loneliness, fear, anxiety, guilt, shame. You're gonna feel bad for making that decision. This is again your interjecting. So the inner critic speaking, as well the voices of those toxic people in your life. It's your old programming, and still feelings of love for the person or the people as well, even if they are abused you. And the confusion and remembering the good times, then you forget, well, actually the 95% that was just not good and bad. And so many ways that you can be sucked back in, and you start doubting yourself, and you get into this loop of thinking in your mind, and it's hard to break free from that, and it becomes hard to focus. And if you haven't taken the right steps as well to detach physically, then you're gonna have a rough time, because you will be leaking your energy, and you will have, well, portals open probably where someone can come in and through to actually mislead you, and to get you back in, to make you feel bad about yourself or your decision. But yeah, mostly, even if you have done that right, the guidance is really important, because, and daily, to stay on that track, because there will be a lot going on inside. It's so good that, and again, I'm here with you, and I've said before, I'm here with you eye to eye. It's not teacher to student. I'm living it, everything myself as well. Yeah, I might be a few steps ahead in terms of breaking free from highly toxic, controlling, manipulative people like narcissists, or it could be anything, combination, borderline, bipolar, psychopath, sociopath, histrionic, all that stuff. We don't care about the labels, and having done it all, and fallen into the traps, and then figured out what you actually need to do to really get through this, and successfully. And with that, I'm able to give you the right steps in the path to do this right, one time right, without all the delays and the traps, which is really, 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 really risky for your entire life. And need to shift you along into this new world eventually. And I don't want to leave anyone, nobody behind. And so you gotta start shifting. It's not about making a huge leap all at once. No, it takes steps, and it takes time, but it takes ongoing guidance and support if you want to make ongoing progress, and eventually, with the right steps, do it as soon as possible as well, or as fast as possible. in this case, when you're dealing with this dark stuff, which really attacks your body and mind, yeah, there's risk for your health, but then especially, that's an understatement, because your brain state changes because of this type of abuse. Stress on your nervous system and everything that comes from that, autoimmune disease, everything that follows from that. So yeah, if you've been dealing with this, and if it's from childhood, you've been dealing with this for a long, long time, there's work to do, but you don't have to do it alone, and it becomes your process of happiness. But there's work to do, we do it together, and you're gonna have the right steps in the right order, and you will need to make the shifts you need to make, and there's a lot of guidance in the journey, for instance, with repetition, but you need it daily to keep yourself on track, to anchor things in, to get it into your spirit, to lock it in. And yeah, over time, you will be able to be ready and prepared to start making actual steps as well. But everything works hand in hand in flow. I mean, I created and designed it that way that you're every time ready for the next step. Because if I go too fast and ask too much in the beginning, it's going to be too much overwhelming, and you're not going to take that step, and you're going to stay stuck. And you might give up or blame the program or the step. But no, I know how you need to do it, and you cannot do it all at once. It comes with flow. And detaching is a process as well. If you do it too fast, radically, without really getting things into your spirit about what is going on, and standing behind your decision, and not because I'm saying something, but it's really something that you are locking in, and you will. That's the first phase of this journey, to get everything clear for yourself. And then it's the steps in the decision making becomes easier, detaching becomes easier, and even in moments of confusion, doubt, and weakness, you'll catch yourself in those moments. And with the ongoing guidance, yeah, you will have these moments exactly when you need it to remind yourself, oh yeah, okay, keep going. And then it takes a bit of time, and then slowly all that toxic energy, all that dark energy, and all the things that you hold within can slowly leave your body without being reinforced by new toxic energy. Because yeah, journey as well, you're gonna be able to have the right steps in the right order to how to detach yourself and practically create a space for yourself. You're not re-influenced again, and you don't have to battle against a million ways that they try to pull you back, and be able to set the boundaries you need to set in a way that's actually pretty easy. And I'm going to be with you on that one. It takes a bit of time as well to anchor in. It's not just me telling you need to do this, because it might feel scary or unnecessary for you to do, but in the journey you will be prepared and understanding for, oh yeah, okay. And then you can, you have the space and time to release and do that properly with progress, because if you leave things unchecked or open, you can try whatever you want, but it's just going to be reinforced, and it's a never-ending cycle. So you got to take those steps, and those uncomfortable steps, and as well, detaching is not easy. The energetic cords with someone that you love, I mean, their love was not real, it was a contract. That needs to be literally released, and spiritually we're going to do that as well. Because it's not only physically, it's emotionally, it's spiritually. And once you let those things go eventually spiritually, it's going to be easy to see things what they are, but also forgiving it. And yourself, and lose those feelings of shame and guilt from needing to make this decision to step up and leave and not return. Wow. I don't know if I can make this a little bit, or need to continue, but I'm going to take a moment. It's been so intense. the same time as well, like getting my own guidance, but there's so much noise around me. It's like everything comes in together, and yeah, the devil plays around knowing that you're leveling up, so the noise makes sense all of a sudden. So yeah, I've isolated myself for a few days, and this is actually something really important, that often when you detach or when you leave, and coming from an abusive family system or an abusive partner or anyone, you tend to feel lonely and jump into a lot of social stuff, and many often jump in fast into new relationships to not feel lonely, and that's really something I want to advise you not to do, because in most cases you attract something similar. The energy you hold within needs to really be released first, to stop being a magnet for these kind of people. When you, in your neediness and loneliness, jump in, and you're gonna ignore red flags in people, and if you start dating too fast, you're gonna ignore it because you're just eager to be not alone, but together with someone. You're gonna sabotage yourself again, and you're stuck again until you learn that lesson as well. But no, wait. Oh, absolutely good. Hang out, find someone or anyone that you can trust, because when you've been dealing with this type of abuse, it's hard to trust, and often you cannot trust many people because they have been influenced by the manipulator in your life, and often against you, and many believe them, of course. Sometimes you lose them, and it's also meant to be, and the real ones will return, and the real ones, they stay. But even if you have just one friend, go out, have fun for a night. But it's really the moment and the time when you've done it right to rest. You'll notice when you do it right, you'll be able to, and it's good to not be alone. Find someone, a close friend, or if you have a healthy, good family member or anyone, to get into your space and your peace, and to calm that body and that nervous system down. And when you've done it properly, you can start doing as well, you're set up practically attached the way you should. So there are no leaks, and there's no openings, and boundaries are set properly. So you will have space ahead for a long time to be with yourself. This is so important, and going to be ready for setting those boundaries. Everything comes along in the right phase. There are about 5 phases in the journey. And that will be nurtured, actually. It still needs some, but it's ready for you to step in from today. And I suggest you do, because the first few months of the journey is ready and prepared. The first 2-3 phases are complete. But anyway, I'm going to be there with you daily and nurturing it. But once you've done it the right way, because if you don't, that process of detaching, trying to detach and staying free and healing can take forever. You're not going to be able to step in that authentic divine life where we're heading. And that's where you need to go as well. And that's why I'm here. But when you've done it right, then you have that space and that container for yourself to start doing healing practices. And the hard, toxic stuff in the West is that when you're dealing with this and people don't recognize this type of abuse, many don't, it's hard to explain. And you get in touch with the wrong people, or actually the abusive people push you into therapy. Well, they should go into therapy, of course, but and then all of a sudden they put you on some medication or something, and yeah, then it can just end really bad for you. And it's actually what these abusive, manipulative people do. And when you are triggered and you hide your emotions, because that's what happens after such a long time of hidden, secretive abuse behind closed doors, triggering you ongoing, and the stress, and there's a moment that you cannot just hold it anymore, then you blow up, You blow up in a way that, well, perhaps looks ugly, but is justifiable and righteous because you've been holding it in for that long. But that's the moment that they will point at you like this manipulative, oh, and then look, you're the one, and then they make you feel worse, and then you start doubting yourself more. It's how they talk you literally into a mental institution, and if you've done it publicly, they will point it like, so this is what I'm dealing with, and nobody believes you anymore. That's painful to notice, and I've experienced that because I fell in all the traps that I possibly could, and all the setups that they set me up with, waiting for moments in gatherings with others, and then getting me into a spot and triggering, and me not being able to hold it properly, and after all the abuse and silent treatments and manipulation, and then it comes out wrongly, and then even your close people and friends will think you are the problem. Becomes a very lonely ride. But you can all make sure this doesn't happen, and you don't have to fall in these traps. You don't have to spend years trying to detach and stay free, trying to heal. For many, it doesn't eventually never happen. They give in, they give up, and then stay stuck within that abusive relationship, or fall into new ones, or just end up really depressed, or in the wrong hands, or in that mental institution. And it's the world upside down. And eventually, when I was leaving, people, they were doing everything to make me look like the one that was wrong. And because when you leave, even without saying a word, you leaving is exposing them. They feel extremely concerned and scared that you might speak, but as well, you're leaving signals to people that, you're somehow not in agreement with these people. And if it comes to a highly insecure, which they are, narcissistic individual, whether that's an overt one or a covert one, and I go in depth on that in the journey, because you need to recognize these things. They go to extreme lengths to protect their false facade to the outside world, because they feel they need to be always looking as this kind, sweet, loving person, while they're actually this wolf in sheep's clothing. If that means they need to eliminate you, and this is really, really true, they don't care if they set you up in a way that you end up in a mental institution, or even in jail for that matter. They can set you up, and the ones, and I experienced it many times especially more often with women, like giving, smiling in my face but behind my back. The worst for me it was women, because when I grew up, I had a highly, traumatized but abusive mother, physically and emotionally and psychologically and everything actually. That I had a thing with women always walking on eggshells and wanting to cater to their needs and be sure they're okay, and they pick up on that. And then you attract as one of the ones that want to take, who really don't care about any of your values and what you stand for. And I experienced it later on in a romantic relationship that broke my heart a million pieces. She actually went for something. If it wasn't me, it would have been someone else to get what she needed in that moment. Knowing that for me, that can only be right when the relationship is okay and solid and healthy. For a kid to grow up in a healthy environment. For sure in the opposite where I grew up in. And when I found out later She knew she did something actually without my consent, but not caring, but scared to let me know. And even then I was like, oh, okay, even if I know we're not good together, and it's probably not good for me and unhealthy, give it a go in full from that moment. But no, she couldn't. The control kicked back in, and I was pushed away and limited access. And like, okay, so you're gonna continue this now? And then it became, of course, for her to be this example model parent and making me look like the stable one. And especially because for me, and this is whenever, and any moment and with anyone, whenever someone does shit like manipulation or dark tricks and stuff to bring me down or others down, I speak the truth, and that's not because I want to punish them. I share their behavior in the hope they realize it and they change, so we have a chance to connect better. This is what I did with this young lady as well. I had a calm, not angry conversation, like, hey, you know my values about when that would work for me to decide, and many conversations about that, and where I came from, my past, and I would be relationship first, see if that works. And that was an awful 1.5 year relationship that I needed to break free from, because actually from day one and I was blind to the red flags. I was healing my wounds and lonely and state. I wanted to help and provide and give my all again for an abusive person in my life. And actually from day one, her wish was her need was very clear, but I wanted to, can you agree on that before knowing the person? And that's what she was asking from me in the beginning. And if not deciding in that moment, she would pick another. It's highly toxic and manipulative, and I was blind to it because I fell for something beautiful face, and she looked magically and kind and giving in the beginning, and doing everything to make me feel great. She studied me that way, but it quickly turned around, and after a few months you start seeing the person, the stress and the putting down and the cruelty moments, and even the moments that I had, private moments when my dad got ill or the grandfather died, she would be able to make a scene in those moments because she was not getting all the attention, and always in the stress that I needed to make sure that was okay as well. So there was no life for me, and needing to make a decision that you cannot make up front. And well, with and you probably as well, from a place of loyalty and being is, let's say good-hearted, giving person, they take advantage of that, and I really don't care. Eventually when I left, she did everything to get me back in a good way, and afterward, a good way, trying with sorries and pretending therapies, and it's all ways to trigger you back in. And eventually there was a lot of guilt and shame that came along, and anyway, in a moment of weakness, she invited me to advise me or her on something, and it's well a trick to make me feel like important, that can you help me with that and advise, and stayed over, and I mentioned we're not gonna, and in the morning, a little seduced moment that happened, and when I walked out, I already felt spiritually that there's something really dark going on. I was also all prepared and set up for a right date, and she was full on the hormones and injections and stuff, and I was really confused about it. She asked me to be a donor and this kind of, so it was so extreme, and I didn't detach from it on time. So by remaining in the people-pleasing mode, feeling guilty for leaving, this is what you have when you deal with this type of abuse, is extreme. And if you're in that role of people pleaser, fixer, and if you're sensitive to, if you have it with your dad or your mom or whatever, but that would be abusive, you will attract the same. And actually this woman had a combination of all the abusive people in the manipulative people in my family, especially my mom, sister, and dad in a way, and many others actually that came along. But they don't give a flying F about what's important to you and your values. And I felt betrayed. She knew that I was not the one to do this with, and she knew my loyalty. She asked me, "Oh, you're so good always in business advice. Can you help me on this one?" We'll drive over again. Stayed. I figured later on to the dates, and I started studying and investigating myself a bit. And it was all planned, timed, and damn, I stepped into a trap. So when I exposed the behavior, because I need to, otherwise, if you want to rebuild somehow trust, somebody needs to acknowledge and admit things, and then you have a chance ahead to be better as well in the future, that these kind of shitty things can happen, or any of that behavior continues. But once I did that, of course, instead of the sorry and the deep remorse for it, because there is literally none, the only option they go to is going extra, and they will want to push you away. So even when I tried that, I noticed I was not getting anywhere, and nothing resolved within. Again, that was before I left in that 1.5-year relationship. All the time when you try to get something resolved, they get you somehow in a corner, in a place that you feel shit for even speaking up, and the pain doubles. You're not getting anything resolved, and it makes you feeling worse doing it. And then you keep chasing for some validation. They don't give it. They give it silent treatment on purpose, and you're stuck for days. You can focus on your work, and then at one moment, because they don't like to see you depressed for too long, they will give you a little dose of the old kind loving version, and then you feel like, there's the person again, and oh, okay. And all the while you started doubting yourself, and maybe you are too much and too sensitive, and and that whole spiral of validation seeking and chasing that, but yet losing yourself more and more, your confidence, and doubting yourself more and more, becomes worse over time. So even though I left the relationship, my body was screaming. The detachment, I didn't do that properly. That's why I kept stuck with it for a year, and I fell in all the traps of strategies to try to get me back in. First I kind of conquered, then became the guilt tripping and making me feel bad for deciding that. And because I had said yes to something in the beginning of the relationship, where you cannot even ask that kind of requests from day one, and I always say, if we good in that time, yes, open to that. But the pressure became more and more along the way, and there was never a moment to get to know each other really and be in a peaceful flow of together. And there was just pressure. There was a contract. There was she was there to get something, and as if it was on the way to buying a new car or the next thing in life to make her happy, a bag, and now it was a little one. So I ignored all the red flags in the beginning. I was really dealing with the whole pattern from my family system and not knowing what to do with that, and it was influencing my whole life. I could not focus on work properly, always being bothered, called, as the fixer of the group, they would and dump everything in my lap, and then I would just have my work. Yeah, of course, not be able to focus. I would call the people involved, and then they would get angry with me, so I got in between, and they never ever. And the one actually dumping all this shit is just moving on. So I would drive back home, try to make them sit together, and then it's just a refusal of everything, and all the toxic manipulation, the control, and that was the abuse. And yeah, I was in a phase of recognizing patterns, but also lonely, and I stepped in with someone that really targeted me and presented her in an exact way by figuring out how I am and what I like, and giving that all in the beginning, but as well with these unreasonable requests already. How do you say that? Yeah, requests or demands for continuing in a relationship from day one. It's actually insane, but I ignored it. But said, if we are good along the way, yes. But yeah, the pressure became more and more. It was just for as fast as possible. There was no way it could ever be a healthy relationship. And if you're approaching life like that, that will never work. And there were so many red flags, and the way she spoke negative about her ex, and that's one you need to be watching out for. It's actually coaching you how to not treat them. Well, actually, they are the ones that were doing that to their partner, to their ex. And she said she felt cornered by her ex. So after a few weeks, months in the relationship, I said, actually, I feel cornered, and you're the one doing it. So I started to doubt many things. But yeah, I ignored the red flags, and therefore, again, if you leave your highly abusive family system or a relationship or a romantic relationship, please wait. Don't lean in too fast from a place of loneliness. And again, having support is so important, the ongoing guidance and support. I just shared you a very personal story that I never ever actually shared before, because of people that can't perhaps understand or respect my decisions eventually. The projected guilt and shame that has been intense for me. But that's when I spoke that truth and exposed what she did and the behavior, to have a chance to be able to continue and rebuild some trust just by admitting it, perhaps showing some remorse for it. But of course there was none, otherwise you don't do this. You don't set somebody up like that because you just have your insatiable need to get what you need in that moment, because you think that's going to make you happy, not thinking for anyone else but yourself, not thinking about anyone, not even a child, especially as well not for me or a healthy family system to grow up. No, the need in the moment, the insatiable need and the entitlement, and that makes me righteously angry. It's a setup. Actually, it's for me a crime against life, humanity. But that's the first time I'm speaking it. It's actually very good. Because once I shared that, there was nothing like that. Oh, she knew. She as well knew she was actually exposed. Instead of changing, instead of some remorse. But you cannot fake remorse. There was none. Because I said, I was trying to get it, to see if it was there or something. There was nothing, but I needed something to be able to build trust after being betrayed like that. And because I was ready to go all in with even this woman who was highly toxic and abusive, manipulative. It was her way of going through life, getting what she needs. It's a very old way. Lower level of energetically going through life, highly manipulative and controlling. You think it's their own way, and highly insecure, and that mask cannot slip. So when I exposed it, because I needed to feel and sense that we can perhaps get back into a form of trust. Doing that in an attempt to be able better moving forward together. Otherwise it's never gonna be okay. If they don't take that moment and opportunity, know that they get back into they see it as an attack and they feel exposed and are so afraid it comes out in the open. Because of that actually does eventually, like now. But they're so afraid that they push you away. So again, not thinking for the bigger picture, for a potential togetherness, for a little fun. Now it was about managing the situation, locked for the rest of your life, and keeping me at a distance, and as well making me look to other people that there's something wrong with me. And of course that gave, again, the whole shit started again. The control, the manipulation, everything I felt in the relationship, why I left. I'm like, oh no, this is continuing. Even now, I was like, okay, maybe it's good this has happened. Yeah, a huge setup and betrayal. Now maybe we can finally, this person might finally shift. Now it continued. And then I started to realize, oh shit, so this will be it. I will never be able to be healthily there and present and see and be connected as I wish with a little one. In fact, I will be worked against, and that stress and that grief of not being able to live with, that would have created so much stress and tension as well for the little one, for me, that eventually there could not be a healthy connection, and that would have led to probably court cases, struggle, stress, parent alienation, one of the freaking hardest thing for a child to deal with, and because I experienced it for years in my life. My parents, my mom, negative about my dad extremely negative about my mom. Every time where I was with one of them, I felt never at peace. Always, it would give me these feelings of disapproval for being with my mom, disapproval from my dad, and the other way around. It's unbelievable that people just can't just get freaking over their own stuff and deal with it and realize how much impact it has on a child. So that was stress for years, dealing with that. And negativity as well from my mom about my dad. And those are a few examples of what I wanted to make sure that my children will never, ever, 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 ever have to experience. And all that taking into account and together, yeah, I decided, because it was well had drained and killed me out of frustration and pain and being miserable. And you cannot even show up and as a good dad. It set you up and create a situation you can. And that would have continued. And so when I kept trying, when I started noticing this was happening, and then it became worse over time with very limited moments to come and visit. While trying to talk, and eventually I got the note in my face with other people around. Someone actually cared about it. It's like cold, ice cold. It was while I was trying to talk, get things perhaps resolved or create a better situation, or turn it somehow, while everything in my body was already screaming like alert, alert, alert. But I needed to see everything to make decisions, and finally that monster came out, and I saw this person that all the way in the beginning 3 years before, with this smile, beauty, angelic, pretending person. I saw the monster, a moment of anger. She couldn't take it anymore. That I was, of course, trying to talk and reason. And with that monstrous face, I saw the real one. Finally, and well, I got the note, which took me a long time, but it killed me in the moment. Was that you're not ready to be a father. I went in my car and I sat there. She said it with somebody in the room, and I was like, okay, this is it. Of course I'm not, all of a sudden. You prepped me for 1.5 years to be one, and said I would be such a good one. No, and I'm not ready to be, or cannot be a father when you don't allow me to be one. And that person did everything to take that away. And that took a long time for me to eventually move on from. Still staying attached emotionally, not letting go, and feeling the pressure of the norms of society, and nobody actually seeing what was really happening and going on. But a few did. A few have shared with me, I know what you were set up, and actually a few warned me on the relationship. But one moment, because I was getting really physically ill because of the stress, and keep trying against something you cannot just, it's impossible. Started to fester within my heart, my stomach. Felt okay, I need to. I laid on my bed one day, and with all of that stuff, and the past with family and this relationship, I just laid. It was the first moment I dropped my efforts, and I asked, I don't know, tell me what to do. First time I was openly asked. And this whole surge of energy came through, and it was the most beautiful, restoring moment ever. And the message was, and it was kind of a whisper, and it wasn't a quiet moment, let go. And it was such a beautiful feeling, the energy that flew through my body, and I said, wow, is this real? So I kept asking a few times to get confirmation, and it happened. It came through again and again and again until it kind of faded, but I needed to double check. That's how I was rigid and letting go. And this is how you can be so extremely attached to toxic cycles and trauma bonds. And that's the moment I let go. As well, saw the abuse for what it was, and the toxic shit that happened, and the biggest betrayal in my life that had occurred in the worst possible way. And I needed to let go for myself, for that little one who would always be set up against me. That woman would go to extreme lengths, and I shared it with her. That it's nothing, it's you, and you made up your bed, now lay in it. No problem for that one. We'll move on, find somebody else, and we'll tell everyone a different story. And if I would have stayed, it would have been so ugly. But for me, she, for instance, knew, and this is, they study you so well. They know your loving, caring, good-hearted spirit, and your empathy, and your love, and how much I would want to connect with a little one. She was already immediately controlling that and taking that away. Of course, that triggers all the emotions. And then you become stressed and unstable, not able to focus on your work. It's impossible. I mean, these people have no remorse. They don't care a single bit of the potential and the effects of their actions. They get and take what they need. And if that makes you miserable for life, they don't care. Even if it's making a kid miserable and setting a kid up in a situation like this, or with a single parent. Sometimes, it's meant to be with a single parent. As well for the kid to be in a healthier state. As well, the kid would have never had the chance to get a chance to connect with me properly, or for me to do with the kid, and then it's gonna be just hassle, stress, and a life of torment for her, because I would not just, but especially for the kid and for me. So that is a decision that took me a long time to make. But when I got that, let go, because because I kept trying in a way, even after I was told not to be ready. I said, you cannot expect somebody to be ready to be a partner and a dad, someone like you and what you do and how you set it up, as well, to not allow a connection healthily, doing it all the way upside down in the most toxic, unhealthy way, requesting this, demanding this as a precept, as a requirement to move on, to get to know you or build a relationship. It's insane. I said no in that moment. She would have found someone else. Should have. I ignored the red flags. Don't ignore the red flags, okay? That's the message. And for all, as well, single dads in this world, I feel you, and I know how many feel misunderstood and lonely, because society doesn't see often. And still, there's too much, let's say, discrimination about, or misunderstanding that it's always men abusing women. No, guys. Times have changed. Women abuse men. And where I was before, like, men maybe more than women in general, no, that's became equal. If the balance has not actually already shifted to actually more women abuse men. Didn't study it lately. But oh man, I feel you. And whatever you decided, or need to decide, for you to get out of the depressed state of being suppressed and controlled in a most horrible way, maybe this helps for you to make a decision and connect with that. Ask, and when you let go, you can live. And norms of society, guys, we gotta stop following that as well, because it's as well a way that binds you to a system, which is an illusion. And that's toxic in itself. And when you can let go and you feel better and you shift your energy, the others can as well. You actually help the situation. Even like me, I realized later, I'm actually helping the situation out. Like me stepping back and moving away, to eliminate all that stress, to eliminate the risk of, or the assurance that parent alienation would happen, because but as well by continuously putting me in a situation of being controlled and not able to connect, and in frustration, I mean, that's hard to just keep on boiling up inside. And they know that. And when you explode one time, or you show a bit of anger, there it is, look, bad one, or bad father, and then the court, and then you're like, you're not allowed to see your child anymore at all. And that was just a matter of time. It would have happened. And she was on her way to arrange that. I know that was in her plan of, So she was eventually as well amazingly happy that I kind of disappeared from the scene to give her a break as well. And because I'm here with the truth now, and the truth will prevail, come out, set you free. And it took me many years to speak about this, and as well society doesn't accept it easily. And there are too many people out there with wrong intentions that use information the wrong way and against you, not knowing the story or not wanting to know the story. I mean, there's always haters around. So people that are jealous, insecure, people that love you, but people as well that you see you do something good, or you're good with people and they're not so happy or depressed. They like to tear that apart. And I mean, so you need to be careful what you share. But I'm here to shift. I'm here to shift with you. And my story is not one of victimhood or complaining. It's let's say it's a testimony from the moment that against all, well, as well, the norms, the expectations of people or limiting beliefs within, and as well all the darkness that was surrounding me. Not being able to focus on my work for months. My support system was taken away. People were advised against me. Of course, the smear campaign, it's what they do when you leave and you start exposing people by leaving, but as well as start you share the truth, which you do to, in the hope you can be moved forward together better. But yeah, they cannot and see it that way. They need to protect and their facade, this mask, they need to keep it up because they're so afraid when the truth comes out and the world sees for who they are. In my case, it's really a crime against, I mean, it's defamation, it's slander of character, it's denying even parenthood, but it's mostly putting someone on this world like that from your own selfishness. Get a grip. And there's how people run around first. They want a career, then a car, then a nice thing, and then they need that kid because the neighbors have it, and then they think, oh, that's gonna make me happy. This is it, because they're stressed and freaking unhappy. And this is the shit that we live in the West as well, and the illusion of this system. That's not where you find your happiness. You find your happiness here, sitting in the Ilog, in the river right now. But yeah, use that story, not, again, it's not a victimhood story, but there's a testimony that when that moment where it's just my heart couldn't take it, or I felt in my stomach there were just things happening within that I knew, hey, this is going really bad. If I keep my energy focused in that direction, keep trying, I'm just physically not gonna even make it. That the darkness and the pushback, and knowing that the strategies and the play that would be coming, actually, my body as well knew, so it was screaming. And then finally, when I kind of took a moment alone, turned off the phone and no distractions, and I asked, and there it is, the light came through, and I literally, now it comes through the Holy Spirit. Thank you so much. What a beautiful moment here today. The energy, just this burst of energy from, actually it comes from bottom up and through the whole chest and arms. That was pure life that I felt through my entire system. Life force. And then with the message, let go. And yeah, I felt relief. And I needed it. I was like, this is real. I always felt that, I always knew that there was more, and I was meant for more, but also that there is so much more than the 3D world we're living in. And this is just, that was the confirmation as well. So it was such a beautiful moment. So I asked again. I was a little bit, that's addictive now, but I needed the confirmation. I asked again, and it was again. Sure, is this really confirm that it's really okay to let go now? Yes, it's okay to. So when I feel that feeling, that's a confirmation that I really can let go. Yes, it kept on coming. I mean, it was even challenging that, and but from that moment I knew, and actually everything immediately cleared up. My mind became clear, my body felt free and open, and it's insane how we neglect all the signs of the body. Often your body's screaming already for years. You feel that stress and tension, but you kind of get used to it. You get the attachment, the trauma bond, everything that's involved keeps you running around in this circle. And of course you need to let that go. So when that happened, when I did, I took a few days to really allow this feeling. Luckily I got the space, and I was happy I actually exposed the behavior of this woman, because it actually made her leave me alone. She knew that with me that would come to light. I mean, she was doing everything around to make me look like some unstable, weird guy because of the situation she created, and would be continue creating in the most horrible way, never being able to connect with that little one. Actually, I know we would end up in court cases. I know my pain, my frustration, my anger, the betrayal, and essentially not being able to be able to give and love a child the way I want to would have killed me, literally. And yeah, with frustration, we probably would have ended up in discussions, and I would have looked the frustrated, unstable one, and yeah, probably everything would be denied anyway, to visit or connect. So there was no point, and I would never. So it's for everyone this way the best, and for that lady, especially for that child, and for me as well. And this is how things happen in life, and there will be new people there that this lady will find. Sure. Again, for me, I'm not even angry anymore, but don't ever come with weird stories and fake apologies. So I let go and I moved on. It's here today that I'm sitting in the river, looking at the mountains, knowing that this was a divine calling to let go of that and all that shit and all that stuff. That was a divine order. Yeah, perhaps not from the worldly system or what the norms would say, and all the other ways how they keep you stuck in that system, and which creates all this toxic, narcissistic, controlling, manipulative way, because this is the way people think they get what they need, get ahead of people, stay on top, keep people below, and feel in power and get what they need. And that's the way they think it's gonna be working for them. For many it does in a way, but the unhappiness stays. Whatever you do, whatever you buy, whatever you get, whatever you chase. Yeah, if it's a child, you're crossing all the boundaries, by the way, of integrity, of healthy brain thinking. It's obsessed, it's so irresponsible, and that's what I wanted to get back here. They all try to look you like the unstable one,